Waxaan ku hadlayn horta waa loo hadlay. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Mohamed Abdinoor for this great achievement. I know education has many definitions. In the past, I'll mix. In the past, education had two components. The banking concept, sure, Dr. knows, and the pecuniary gains. We used to sell our camels, you are taken to school. The first thing the parent expects is for you to get a job and pay back. And therefore, you are an investment. You are just like the money in an account. But education has changed over the years. When we were in school, when we were at the university, we were very few. Dr. Dayow joins the list of those self-educated individuals in our society. He's not a test tube academician. And I'm glad that his professor is here. And that is what actually it means to be a true academician, because PhD has two words. Doctor of philosophy. Doctor meaning the highest echelon in education. Philosophy means love of wisdom. When you reach there and it's the highest level, now you branch into many fields. You become, with due respect to the supervisor and Dr. Dayow and many other professors, you can branch now into other fields. You can become a social fool. There are professors who are social fools because you just get married to that knowledge, theoretical framework without an iota of an expanded horizon of thinking. I do not want Professor Dr. Dayow to join that league. And that's why research-based technological innovation in Africa is limited. Because you become a professor, you become an academic giant, you now become an Edward-looking individual. You cease to think. So Dr. Dayow, with all these praises, we want you to join the league of ever-thinking professors or PhD holders so that your research can benefit the human race. Everybody is an accommodation, but what makes a difference is you must have time to think, to contextualize, to collect data, and disseminate that information in the form of, I'm sure the professor understands, in the form of a thesis. That is what gives you, and that's why somebody was saying, PhD sometimes takes you to the level where you can destroy your mental state. That's why somebody can qualify to be a social fool, which means in academic parlance, it's called you can bust. That is not where we want our professor to go. But I think there are certain things that we must also address. Many issues have been raised. Today, in the world, in the global world, the world has become a global village. This country that you see has been voted as the best in human resource capital. The question that we need to ask ourselves is how many of our league, how many of our members of our society form part of that category. Kenya has been voted as the best in human resource capital in Africa. That's why today, the diaspora community is one of the most flourishing community in the Kenyan society today. And today it has transformed into the best foreign, the highest foreign exchange earner to our economy. Who are these? Where are they? Does that translate into another layer of think tankers? Not only in Kenya, but in the Horn of Africa, in Kenya, in the world, in the UN. That is what the world is looking for. Countries that you see, Egypt, Israel, Jordan, and many other countries, thrive on their best human resource capital. So you become a professor, then you start thinking towards the village where you started, you are start one Batelo. No, now that you are a professor, now you become a member, a resident of the global village. And therefore, even the thinking must conform to that society, the global world, not the Batelo world alone. The Batelo world is still an inherent part of your blood. But having said that, there are other things that have emerged. Having been one of the politicians who have been around, I will tell you today, we are not marginalized. And I will say this without fear, without favor, without any contradiction. In 2010, and I want you to go home with this, and I can tell you the deficiency. In 2010, before 2010, this country has a history. 1896, the British East African Protectorate. It was a private company. Kenya was owned by a private company. 1920, Kenya as a colony. 1945, the first legislative assembly. 1962, internal self-rule. 1963, independence. When did we get our independence as a region? No. 1991, at the advent of multipartyism. 1991 is when we removed the District Contagious Act, the Indemnity Act, and how many other laws? 5 laws. And then our final independence was 2010 as the promulgation of the current constitution. For those of us who are there, I'll tell you what we did. And that's why deep inside me today, I am contented with what we did. If you are not living by what is there, it's your business. The current constitution is a mixture of 3 groups. In 2010, we have 3 contending groups. And this is the reality. The group led by Kibaki wanted a pure presidential system. I'm glad that my friend here, who is a Facebook warrior, is here. Dr. Yes, Salah. And I want you to listen to this so that you can transform your theoretical platforms to a practical reality. Kibaki and cohort wanted a pure presidential system because of their numerical strength. Raila and cohort wanted a pure parliamentary system because of the horizon of different regions that they got their support. There was a third component. We, the floating group from the pastoralist community. So the question was, what was our interest? We went to Naivasha. Our interest was devolution. This vision is there. From 2013 to date, Northern Kenya has got 273 billion. Are you marginalized? Are we marginalized? Now I want us to say, are we marginalized? No, we have marginalized ourselves. We have marginalized ourselves because reality is, this, I don't want to bog down his function, but I'll tell you, these are things that we should share. And I challenge you, Professor Salah and others, call us for meeting. Let's engage in academic discourse. Let's engage in the practical, not Facebook. And we'll tell you the facts. Who has marginalized ourselves? We have marginalized ourselves because you vote tribally, you think tribally, you walk tribally, and therefore, even the tamakin and everything else, that money, if every county was contributing 2 billion shillings a year, that road will have been tarmacked. Let's face the realities. As much as, and I'm glad that I'm saying this because somebody has said the politicians, and I felt, being their chair, I shall defend them. We did our bit. If you don't do your bit as a society because of other considerations, it's your business. You can't blame anybody else. So right now, Kenya is going to another level. This is my parting shot. Every year, every season comes with other things. Few years ago, there were very few of us in these streets. Today, we are the most dominant community in the business world, isn't it? You can go any part in this country. You will find a person who has the same features as you. If you go back to the history of the British rule, the Kenya-Uganda Railway, do you know how many campy Somalis that you have and the products? Naivasha, Nakuru, Nyeri, Bungoma, literally Busia, everything. The products of those are here. Some are in Uganda, some are in Britain, some are in Canada. The bottom line is this. Are we ready to meet our societal expectations like the other communities that have expelled has done? Who rules America today? Who rules America? Eh? Yes. How are they ruling it? Economic might and innovation. Where is US? So I welcome you to the club. Please, when you become an associate professor, lead us to a further expansion of horizon in the academic world, in the philosophical world, in our social heritage, because education is an enabler of social cohesion. It's an enabler. it gives you just the platform. Kwa ufupi ani warku waxaan ku soo xiray waxaan leenahay walaalow soo dhawaaw nidaamka cusub oo adiga hagaajisay ku soo dhawaaw waxaan filayaa dad badan oo wax u soo tartay ama wax ka baratay way kula joogaan maanta waan ogsoona qayb badan baad ka soo qaadatay dadaal badan baad muujisay gegsiin badan baad hagaajisay tiina maanta waxay tusaysaa meesha u dambaysa oo halkaan qalin jibiska aan joogno marka waxaan filayaa kugu dambe oo ku soo raaci doono qayb cusub oo dadkii iyo wadankii iyo qayb talkiiba wax u tari kara inay fursaddan ay isticmaali doonaan adina ku soo dhawaan ku leh congratulations and inshallah buugaas daabacday waxaan filayaa inuu qayb badan iyo ka noqon doono dadku waxay ku bartaan waxaan ku soo xirayaa qayb la dhaha social media igan raaliada ninka TikTok iskale mando waxa this is controversial and also unsolicited but I will say it's my responsibility ninka TikTok iskale mando waxa lagu ganaaxay Ingiriiska 17 billion equivalent to Kenyan shillings baa laga qaaday maxaa loo ganaaxay ma garanaysiin yaa garanay wax loo ganaaxay waa William oo Chinese waa la ganaaxay hadda maanta TikTok followerska Chinese waxa ka badan Soomaalida waana very destructive haddii rabna tacliinta inaan qayb ka gaarna horumar aan ka gaarna very destructive take a time look at it ninka waxa loo ganaaxay content aan loo baahneen inuu Ingiriiska iridaa dambe uu ka soo geli anaka halkan teena waa unfettered nin control gareey ma laha nin kasta wuxuu rabo suubiya nin kasta gacantu ka baxay professor waxaan ka filayaa in one of your I will call it your educational corporate social responsibility because lacag lama siin kartid laakiin tacliinimo ah inaan ka dhaxalna aan doonayna fasahaadkaas hadda ka jira oo meel kastaba gaaray inaas idinka tacliinta daatiin as qayb ka qaadatin waxna aan qabatin Dr. Idris on behalf of my colleagues waa ku mahadsantaa qaybtaas hadda ka haysid wadankii ayaan dhawaa maqashaa uma leeyahay waxaan leenahay dawladii hadda reer Cross shaqada dawladda haysa hadii wax lagu soo goriyo intaas waa waana mahadsantiin soo dhawaada